Tonight, on A Week in League, we'll be talking about the Danny EG situation, LPL Week of Surprises, LEC Roster Mania, 100T changes, WildTurtle is back, and so much more right after the intro. Welcome to A Week in League, where we cover League of Legends esports all around the globe from all 4 major regions. I'm your host Slomar, and let's just get right into the news. As usual, timestamps and links will be in the description, and while you're down there, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. Thanks. Week 7 of the LPL has been full of surprises. EDG's Leave has been having a great split so far, but more specifically, this last week in the LPL, he had a couple of pop-off games. Notably, in the series versus LNG. EDG's Leave is the Rookie of the Week for Week 7 of the LPL. Who needs Viper, am I right? This last week in the LPL, we had tons of crazy picks in the top lane. Quinn top from the Shy, IG's spicy picks, and Kennen top is making a heavy comeback this split. Man, I love the LPL meta. Here are the best players of Week 7 in the LPL. And Rookie is the best player of the week. Okay, this one's a mouthful, but bear with me. EDG, TES, OMG, WBG, and IG go 2-0 this last week. Woof! While BLG, LGD, and JDG go 1-1. Everyone else goes 0-2. And you know what time it is? Time for Game of the Week! And this week, it's gonna be the JDG versus OMG upset. The series goes the distance all the way to 3 games, but OMG makes a comeback in Game 3. The series is definitely worth a watch if you ask me. Anyways, let's take a look at the LPL standings. EDG, LNG, TES, and JDG are in a very tight race for the top. And teams like WBG, IG, and OMG are not far behind. With only 3 weeks left in the LPL this split, things are gonna get spicy before playoffs. Make sure you stick around for our coverage. Week 7 of the LCK was full of 2-0 series wins all around. T1, KT, and D+ go 2-0, while Gen G, KDF, DRX, and HLE go 1-1. The rest goes 0-2. The LCK continues to lead the meta with innovative support and jungle picks, while the LPL is leading the way in top lane. We had some new ASOL in the LCK, but it didn't see as much success as the LCS. I'm glad that at least the new ASOL is a hit in pro play. Anyways, time for Game of the Week! And this week, it's the featured matchup of the LCK, and it's HLE versus D+. The Viper vs Deft battle. Personally, I kinda wish the series was a little closer, however, D+ won pretty convincingly 2-0. Anyways, let's take a look at the LCK standings. Last week, we talked about T1 locking in a playoff spot. This week, D+, Gen G, KT, and HLE will be joining them in playoffs. With only 2 weeks of competition left in the LCK, the playoffs race seems kinda decided already, but the seeding does matter. So let's see if we can get a hype battle for maybe 2nd or 3rd place. Make sure you tune in next week for continued coverage. With the LEC Winter Finals wrapping up and G2 grabbing yet another title, we get a 1-week break from the LEC before the spring split starts. And it seems like some teams are taking a chance to make some changes to their rosters. The LEC Roster Mania is in full effect. Excel appoints a new head coach to the LEC roster. This comes at no surprise after Excel manages to get 1 win this last split. The Vitality upset news is also confirmed. It was confirmed a few hours after we released the last episode, but it is what it is. And arguably the biggest roster news comes from Fnatic. Fnatic have announced changes to its LEC roster, replacing 2 players and a head coach. This was following a lackluster performance from the team, going 2-8 in this last winter split. Fnatic will replace their top laner Wanderer for Oskarin and their support Rux for Adavine. Their head coach Crusher is being replaced by Nightshade. We'll have to see if these changes can get Fnatic some more wins this split, or if the team is going to continue to struggle. And that's all the LEC Roster Mania news we got for you this week. The LEC is back on March 11th, so make sure you tune in next week for our spring split kickoff coverage. This last week of the LCS was a guaranteed banger. Get it? Guaranteed? Yeah, Someday brought out Garen Top for the first time ever in the LCS history. TSM brought back WildTurtle this week. Meteos was on broadcast. We had multiple ASOL picks, and so much more. Let's talk about the games though. Jojo Pune was the player of the week for week 6 in the LCS. EG and C9 go 2-0, Dig and 100 Thieves go 0-2, and everyone else goes 1-1. Even with FlyQuest going 1-1 this last week, they have still managed to secure a playoff spot. C9 and EG are not far behind. Historically, 9 wins has been enough to get you into playoffs for the LCS. Anyways, time for Game of the Week. And this week, it's EG versus FlyQuest. Yes, it's the game featuring the Garen Top. Not only is this game a banger, but you'll be watching the first ever Garen in the LCS. 2 birds, 1 stone if you ask me. Anyways, go watch it. With only 2 weeks left in the LCS Spring Split, things are gonna get spicy for playoffs, so make sure you tune in next week for our continued coverage. Welcome to In Other News, a segment where we discuss news that may or may not be related to LOL Esports. This week's headline is 100 Thieves swap out their head coach amid their questionable LCS run. Nukeduck will be replacing Cass as the head coach for 100 Thieves for the rest of the split. We'll have to see if 100 Thieves can be a real playoffs contender or if they're just going to kaboom. In other LCS roster news, WildTurtle is back in the LCS on TSM. WildTurtle is back on TSM playing his first game since 2017. I can't believe we live in this world where Stixxay, Doublelift, and WildTurtle are in the LCS. Too bad we don't have Aframu this year. We don't usually cover game updates on here, but this one looks really cool, so I'm gonna talk about it. The new champion Milo has just been revealed, and he looks like he just came out of a Disney movie. Besides the Disney aesthetics though, the abilities and kit are really unique, and I can't wait for this champion to be released. And I guess right after saying we don't cover much game updates, I'm gonna keep going with more game update stories. The ARAM Rubble is finally being removed from the game on this next patch after major community backlash. Honestly, I'm surprised it was in the game for this long after receiving this much hate, but it's gone now. In other news, a couple of game-breaking bugs hit the game this last week. The Yuumi bug famously delayed the release of the Yuumi rework, and now we have this mana bug that will turn your mana into single digits. Vandrel has put a video out on YouTube explaining this glitch in much more detail. If you want to learn more, links are in the description. In other news, we've talked about game bugs and glitches quite a bit on this show, and we hate bugs around here. And I know before you say anything, it's a lot easier said than done to remake the game or put it into a different engine. I get it. However, Riot Phreak has confirmed that the LOL development team is finally working on fixing the tech debt issues that the team has been facing. This is very exciting news to me, and the communication has been top-notch lately. Thank you so much for the development team. It's been very refreshing. In other news, the dates for the First Clash season of 2023 have been finally revealed. I would spend more time talking about this, but we all know that us as League gamers, we don't have friends, so if you want to learn more, link in description. In other news, we've touched on this a little in a previous episode, but it's actually coming out this next patch. Major champion price overhaul. Yes, champions now will be priced based on their difficulty, making champions like Yuumi the same price as Annie. To be clear, new champions will still be priced at 7,800, but only for a limited time, and then they'll drop to their difficulty pricing. Currently in the shop, there are 32 champions priced at 6,300. After the update, there should only be 5. This is a great change for new and returning players. I'm very excited about it. This is a bit of a funny story, but a recent post on Reddit where someone did the math on how long it will take Riot to update all the champs, saying that it will roughly be updated by 2053. That's assuming 3 updates per year and whatnot, and we know Riot's about to kick that into high gear, but it was fun to see the numbers nonetheless. Personally, I wonder what League's gonna look like in 2053. Like when you see a clip back from season 1 or 2, everything looks so old and slow. Is 2053 League just gonna be like 2x speed? Maybe there's gonna be a League of Legends 2 or something. Who knows? In other news, Treats claims that EU Champions queue is dead. Treats tweeted out saying, quote, "Was sitting in Champions queue for nearly 3 hours in a row without a game." EU champion SKU is officially dead. End quote. Personally, I wouldn't dig too much into this. We're gonna keep an eye on it, but I suspect that this is happening because of the LEC split break between the winter and spring, and things will get back to normal next week. Before we wrap up tonight's show, I want to talk about the EG Danny situation once again. Since we've talked about this last time, more information has come to light. Primarily, the Richard Lewis article, the Arsh article, and the spicy episode of the Four Horsemen. I'm still very confused on how no one is going after EG so far. It is clear to me that the EG management has had a significant role on Danny's retirement. And the fact that no one from EG has come out and released a statement or talked about this in any way, shape, or form. It is mind-boggling to me, honestly. Where is EG? Where's Danny? Isn't he supposed to be a streamer now? We'll continue to cover the story as more updates come out, but it seems like all three stories, while having their own inconsistencies, all point towards the EG execs manipulating Danny and the situation. I hope we can get more information and clarity on this, especially from the EG side. Perhaps even the Players Association can comment on this and step in to prevent things like this from happening in the future. But I know that's asking for too much. Anyways, that's the end of our show for this week. Thank you so much for all the continued support. If you're enjoying the show, please consider subscribing. Have a good night, and good luck in solo queue. Woo!